Hello everyone, so here's an epic battle between two players who are basically Masters League. I'm not sure, one might be Diamond, but we have a Protoss and a Zerg. Excuse me, not a Zerg, a Terran. This is an epic battle, so I thought I would bring it to you today, and you can see how you could come back. Excuse me. This is a warning to Terran players. I usually show Terran players winning because I'm Terran, and I usually show videos I think are helpful for myself and for other Terran players to learn how to defeat other races and even other Terran players. So if you didn't catch what was going on a minute ago, it's kind of funny. You can rewind it and watch it if you want to, but basically the Protoss player is trying to kill a SCV, and so for some reason he decided to, instead of attacking the probe, he just decided to repair the SCV. So he was repairing the SCV while it was being attacked by the Protoss probe with two other SCVs, and then he finally decided to attack and kill the probe. So it was really kind of strange, but our Protoss friend decided that was pretty cool, and he said nice, gave a little shout out compliment. So let's click on the production tab. Here's one good reason to wall in if you're Terran against Protoss. You can't kill a stalker. It doesn't matter how many Marines you have, you can't kill it. It's too fast. It has a longer range than you have, and it will kill all of your Marines. Now if you have a Marauder, its range is 6, so it has an equal range. But still, unless you have concussive shells, it's so fast, it still might kill you, just because it can shoot you and run away. It probably won't kill a Marauder, but it will kill all these Marines if you are not careful. And even if you don't kill them all, look, they're all getting damaged. All of them. They're all becoming weak Marines. Without a medvac, these things are going to get sliced up. No problemo. So I'm going to have to fast forward a little bit though, because it's a really long game, and I don't want to take up your whole day. So our Terran player decides it will be a better idea to back out of here, and to perhaps get healed up. Though he built an expo, he is not yet having a medevac or anything like that. So we're just a bunch of infantry. And because his troops got so sliced up, if I were him, I would not be doing this. Just that first stalker, though he's got great micro. Throughout this game, you can really take lessons because this kid was microing really well. I don't know if he was a kid, but he was playing like an adult here. He was just microing his troops so effectively. It's really nice. So he's not going to poke up into the main. He just wants to keep him on one base. He wasn't trying to end the game or anything. You see just another barracks going down. He was able to expand successfully. That was impressive. He scouted that without even... That was really amazing. He somehow could see the observer. Let's watch what he was doing there. He could see the observer. He knew it was there, even though he had no turret.
It's go time.
Let's see how he did that.
Armed and ready.
Wow. I don't know how he did that. That was amazing. What eagle eye. That was incredible. Guess it's possible to see an observer if you pay very, very careful attention. And it's always nice to kill those off, because then the enemy has no idea what you're doing. So, our Terran player is a bigger army. If I were this Terran player, I would be making a ghost right now. But alas, he is not me. Instead he's getting combat shields, and he already has stim. So don't really approve of that idea, just because if you stim without a med bag, you're just gonna die. He doesn't have a med bag, and he's got all these wounded troops. And so this is crafty, very crafty. An elevator. He picks him up, drops him, picks up some more, drops some more. He comes into the back where all his units were almost dead or hiding, and picks off a couple. But the bad thing about this for our protoss players, he doesn't have any more troops than these he's kind of playing around with. And yeah, he could warp in 5 more at a time, and it's pretty good, but he decides to go over here and expand. He was tired of canceling at his natural. He had canceled twice. It's frustrating for him, so somewhere else. This Marauder is just hanging on for dear life at 3 hit points. But this is why a Protoss player is avoiding the front door. He's not going to get through there. And when you see this many Marauders, what do you do? Well, one thing you can do is you can go air, and wisely, where is the Stargate? Oh, here it is. Yeah. Obviously, the can be very effective against Marauders to build either a Phoenix or a Void Ray, either one. Because with the Phoenix, you can lift up the Marauder using that graviton beam or whatever it is. Do some serious damage, and they can't do anything about it. So, okay, fast forwarding here. We'll see once the other air units arrive. It's a Phoenix, and it's just playing around a little bit. Another Phoenix, and there's Viking, and the micro of a master. He pulls back, and his shields get down to 0. And now neither one lost any actual life, just some shields that will be recharging. But what is this? A massive drop is on its way. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This could seriously do major damage. And will it go undetected? Of course, our Terran player has no idea that he has 2 more expansions. One reason why you may want to scout around a little bit. But he does a great job microing, forcing all these zealots to just run all over the place. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to pick up again, because the Phoenix will kill his troops if he tries to pick up. And technically, Marauders are not good against zealots, but I thought he had a couple opportunities here to get a real good choke. And just stay there. Like around here, I think he should have maybe stopped right here. Stopped backing up. And, but he comes back here into the open. And, where it's easier for our Protoss player to get pushed around. Either way, he would have lost the battle, I think, there. But what's this? A huge force pushing out. And going to counter this little drop elevator force. So I'm really happy to kill that off. Usually be faster running around those rocks, but since he'd already stemmed, he doesn't break through it. He kind of starts to overstem there. I don't know if that was a great idea, but probably. This Terran player really did know what he was doing in this game. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. This is what you want to do, though. Oh my gosh. Will this go down? Yes, barely. Barely kill it off with that Nexus. But, this is what you do if you're a Protoss and you have a ton of Marauders, or Marines and Marauders. You storm the Chimney Cricket Christmas out of them. So, that worked pretty well. And now here's a quick counterattack. And as you can see, very smartly placing buildings at the other bases. So if you do get your main wiped out, it's not the end of the world. In fact, you can even use your main as a distraction, because you know you can rebuild sometimes, you know your opponent cannot. rebuild as fast or with as good of units. So I'm going to fast forward again. Not much happens. Just a little bit of a harass play. It's a little, but here comes a little battle. What's better? Who's got the bigger army? Well, looks like our it's pretty even. Our toss has more gas, even though he has a little bit less mineral. So the unit, I would have to say, these are the right units to make that all counter Marine Marauder really well. Medvac. You can do feedback on the medvacs. You can do storm on the medvacs and ground units. Of course, these Archons are very hard to kill, and they are very good against biological units. 35 damage against biological units. It's very strong, especially when you have a million zealots charging all over the place. So it just looks pretty one-sided. And one thing you gotta be careful about is protoss is you don't storm your own units. You got all these zealots, you just stormed all his own zealots pretty bad. But Storm is so powerful. It's it's one of those things that can win the game for you. There's a couple units that really just can win the game for you, just straight out. It could be game over. I mean, you could say that, you know, a Terran could nuke you, and that would be game over. But on the other hand, it's so hard to get the nuke off in a good place. It's poor. Command center is not going to get finished, and you can see these. It looks like these things were hit by a storm or a feedback. So they just went up here, but the Terran player canceled that expo, and now the Terran player is going to lead these guys. So let's look at the army tab. The protoss player has a much larger army, yet he's not feeling comfortable enough to push in yet. And our Terran player has 6 barracks, 2, 4, 6, 7. So you can make 6 Marauders at a time and 2 Marines. And he does make 4 Ghosts. And you have to have Ghosts if you're facing this kind of stuff, because you have to EMP an Archon 4 times before it loses all its shields. But if you do EMP an Archon 4 times, he'll have 10 hit points left. 10 hit points. So that's why you really do need Ghosts. And it doesn't hurt to hit these guys with EMPs. You'll take down, just one EMP will take them down to 50 life, so you turn a Zealot into a Marine, basically. And look at that, our Terran player has caught up to our Protoss player in army size, except for the gas. He's going straight Archon with these High Templars. A little surprised, but he doesn't know that the Terran player has these Ghosts. See how many Ghost EMPs we have here. 96, 97, 98, 98. He's got 4 EMPs, and then he'll be out. See how good these Ghosts do. In my opinion, you have to make Ghosts to win against Protoss. You have to. Absolutely have to. Unless, of course, you're going Void Rays. So there goes one EMP. 2 EMPs, 3 EMPs, 4 EMPs. So he used up all his EMPs, but he actually hit most of these Archons once. He did hit this one 3 times with the EMPs. And the Storm, the perfect placement of the Storm in that case, just did so much damage. Just a ton of damage. These Marauders are almost dead because of it. And it's funny that Archon was moving what was being formed. Sometimes units will get carried away by their units. This is why you need in he goes. I mean, these 5 Marauders stemmed took that long to kill 1 Archon. That's ridiculous. And I hope he's making more medvacs. He really needs more medvacs. And you can see all these production facilities he has made at his expos. So now he can sacrifice his main. He had to. So I mean, I don't know why he is pushing out. These guys are all almost dead. They have no chance of defeating. Really needs to heal mode. This is the micro dance, though. The micro dance between 2 masters. It's a lot of fun to watch. Storm is just so strong. You gotta. One thing he does really well is you want to stem and run out of the storm if you are Terran. Even if you're almost dead, you still want to stem and run out of the storm. Here he probably should have picked up and ran. And he's so good at just microing those, getting the reinforcements, getting them the rally points set to a good place, and stimming only half of them. It's very nice. So here he does pick up. He doesn't pick up all of them. He can't pick up all of them, of course, because of this Archon and these High Templars who can feed back and deal damage for all the energy that is in the medvac. So, alright, I'm sorry this is taking so long. Let's get to the exciting conclusion. I'm just going to fast forward it. I do want to show the army size tab though, because I think there is a lesson to be learned from what we'll see soon. He did build a couple Colossus, but they do not have the range, which in my opinion makes them almost worthless. They can absorb some damage, but they will go down very quickly. He just two-shot that one. I think the micro is just so good. You know, the reason why you do this is because every time you hit them, they get the concussive shell slows them down. So you split up the army. And these High Templars takes them forever to come over here and storm, and so he pulls back, but probably not quite fast enough in the storm. So pretty even battle. Problem is that when it's pretty even, this late in the game, you lose. You probably will lose the game. Not to give anything away. He does get a nice PF up, but what's this? What's this? Somewhere, something is being built. Okay, it's not being built quite yet. Sorry, I gave that away. I think he only does build it when he just scouted this a second ago. And so what do you do when you scout a PF? Well, one thing you can do is if you're protoss that there are no turrets around the PF, well, of course you can send in your Phoenix to harass it, or you can send in a Void Ray to destroy it. But another thing that Protoss has that is basically a game changer, could be a game changer, start to mix in just a couple Dark Templar into the mix, and this also seems to be working pretty well. Waste a scan on that one stalker. That's 300 minerals he just lost. Surprisingly, our Terran player has more. Well, really, throughout this whole game, it's been so even. Just been dead even. And I think it's kind of funny. He's just been making Marauders. These things are 3-3. And our protoss player actually is 0 upgrades. So that makes me feel a little underpowered. If you have, you know, this many 3-3 Marauders, and yet they cannot get you a decisive victory at that last battle. And I'm surprised this force took down this PF so easily, even if they're not upgraded at all. You would think that it would last a little bit longer. I mean, these guys didn't hardly get hurt. Somewhat. But alright, so 3-3 Marauders, and he splits them up a little bit. This is some awesome micro. This is how you want a micro right here. This is great. So he gets off the escape route. So at this point, look at the army size. Whoa, these 3-3 Marauders won that battle decisively. Alright, well, so now what? Let's look at the production tab. One thing you want to make sure you do, you got to continually be making troops. And one problem he had was that got killed off, and he flies over there. And this is not what you want to do. You really do not want to fly your orbital commands around. You can, but if you had this big of an army, you ought to just rebuild a PF or something, because you lose that orbital command, it's really going to hurt. Especially if they start building Dark Templars. Flying your orbital command around, you can't scan. If your orbital command gets killed off, you can't scan. So it's a really bad idea. I'll bet you our Terran player thought he was going to win at this point. And he just still does not even know hardly what's going on over here. But this is basically a rebuilt main at this point. He's got buildings even at his 5th and 6th bases, so it's one thing Hatsune does. I've seen him play before. I've seen him do this before. He'll always be very mobile with his expos. Just continually, not only just expoing, but building unit production facilities at every single one of his expos. So I don't know how he keeps all of his rally points straight, but even, you know, his army is always on the move. And Day 9 said that you should always be doing something with your troops, and something. Gotta keep the pressure up, or you will lose. The aggressor always has the advantage, unless you just have made completely the wrong units. The aggressor has the advantage, because you know when you want to stim, you know when you want to get the first hits in the battle. Now this looks still very convincing army size. It's pretty even, actually. I think at this point, protoss player economic advantage is really the key factor here, because the turn only has 18 harvesters. Going for all those storms, killing all those SCVs at that planetary fortress would have been more even. So here it is, folks. Here is the deciding battle. And about 19 storms go down and wipe out a massive force of Marauders. That was pretty bad. And there goes down some feedback, killing a medvac. So what looked like it would have been an easy victory for the Marauders, you know, they just got completely hammered. Feedback goes down on more medvacs, so they're almost dead now. And that was just sad to see. Very, very sad to see as a Terran player. That huge army of Marauders go down to those High Templar. I think if you see a million High Templars, you're probably gonna have to start to build some other units. I don't know what. Maybe Thors. I mean, Hellions, or I don't know what. I think if you don't Or just more ghosts. He kind of stopped building ghosts there. And because he stopped building ghosts, he was, you know, if you EMP the High Templars, which isn't easy to do, but if you do it, you want to save one EMP High Templars, and then they're only going to be able to storm you, say, 4 times instead of, say, 8 times. So, anyway, because of the 6 Harvesters remaining now, I believe we had some, yeah, there was 1 or 2 Dark Templar in here, killing off every single one of the SCVs. So, I mean, this is game over. Our Terran player has 6 Harvesters. That's just silly. Compared to 41, there's just no chance he's going to recover from this. But he's not the kind of guy to give up easily. But there you go. So, hope you enjoyed it, learned something, and see you guys.